leucism, which prevents the deposition of pigments along their hair shaft, producing a lighter colored lions. When white lions are first born, they're completely white, and it's said that they look like polar bear cubs, but as they grow, they will gradually get darker in color. As you can see, these guys are just as lazy as our other lions. Even though they may look quite tall and awkward looking, giraffes can actually run at speeds of up to 48 kilometers an hour. They have very large hearts that can weigh up to 24 pounds and be the size of a basketball. That massive heart is needed to pump blood all over their long necks and into their brains. Coming up in the field now, these dark brown gray animals are the wildebeest. The wildebeest make up the second largest land mammal migration on Earth. An estimated 1.5 million wildebeest that live in Serengeti today. They are constantly on the move, and they have some interesting adaptations, such as specialized nostril flaps that filter out dirt while they run. Baby wildebeest are also the fastest hoofed animals to get to their feet after birth. A baby can stand as little as 3 minutes after being born and is able to run within a day. Get a bit of a better view at our ostrich here to our left-hand side. Ostriches are not very smart birds in the slightest. Their brain is actually smaller than the size of one of their eyeballs. Even though they do have very tiny brains, they do lay very large eggs. One ostrich egg can weigh up to 4 pounds, which is equivalent to 30 chicken eggs. Coming up around our hills here, we have lots of our barberry sheep. Barberry sheep come from the rocky desert plains of northern Africa. They are fantastic jumpers and climbers, able to clear obstacles up to 6.5 feet in height. Side now, we have our zebras. Zebras are sometimes also referred to as the wild horses of Africa, yet they lack both the domesticated horses' gentleness and endurance. They are one of the most preyed upon animals to inhabit the African plains, and they must be forever vigilant or they will fall prey to their deadliest enemies, including lions or hyenas. Zebras are actually white with black stripes, and their stripes are especially broad on their haunches and rump. There are many theories as to why zebras have their stripes, but the most common is that they act to help them cope with extreme heat, with their black stripes absorbing the heat of the sun and their white stripes reflecting it. Field to our right hand side here, you'll see a white antelope. And these guys are called the addax or the screwhorn antelope. The The adults can actually survive their whole entire lives without drinking any water at all. And that's because they get enough moisture from the leaves and buds that they eat. Adults will live in herds of 2 to 20 members that is led by the oldest male, and they will travel great distances in search of finding food. Down here we will get a closer look at some of our giraffes. We do actually have another one of our white lions on our right hand side. She just wanted some alone time. According to the Global White Lion Protection Trust, there are less than 300 white lions worldwide today, with the greatest population existing in zoos where they are deliberately bred for their coats. Yeah. As we travel through our park, you will notice many of our zebra stripe trucks, and these are our game wardens. Our game wardens have the important job of making sure that all of our animals are behaving themselves, as well as making sure that all human visitors that come to our park behave themselves as well. Because believe it or not, people do like to open their windows, even in our lion reserves. Our right hand side behind these no entry signs, we have our lion compound, and this is where our lions are housed at night. Around 5:30 to 6 p.m. our lions are ready for bed. Our game wardens will herd them closer in their trucks if they need to before they close the gates for the night. Honestly, most of the time they head over there on their own. Yeah, but if they don't, then they just kind of inch them closer a little bit in the trucks, and that usually gets them going in. So the area that we're traveling on now is known as no man's land. That's because we don't have any animals in this section. This helps us to separate our meat-eating animals, or our carnivores, from our plant-eating animals, or herbivores, that make up the rest of our tour. Once we round this bend, we'll be heading into our fourth reserve, which is our Wanky Bushland Trail. And this is where you'll be introduced to our troop of savanna baboons. They're technically omnivores, but they are predominantly more vegetarian. Other than bugs, they do like to eat bugs. As we enter into this reserve, you'll notice our road that goes off to our left-hand side, and that is our Monkey Jungle bypass road, designed for guests that don't wish to drive through this area, as you do enter at your own risk. Our baboons are quite famous for taking souvenirs from vehicles, as well as leaving some of their own very special sneaky souvenirs behind. Sorry? Yeah, we're gonna see them. Yeah, they tend to leave the buses alone a bit more than the cars. Cars have things that are easier to rip off. So we do have an animal coming up to our left-hand side within the trees. Actually, two different animals. So first, we have this more reddish-brown antelope with white stripes on its side. And these guys are called the bongo. The bongo are the largest of the African forest antelope. They have 10 to 15 white stripes on either side of their body, but the number of stripes on each side is rarely the same. Bongos are very timid, and they do spend most of their time within the forest. They also have horns that turn inward, and this prevents their horns from getting stuck on branches while they run through the forest. So along with our bongos there, you may also see a small gray cow walking around. They are actually walking away from us. But those guys are called the miniature zebu, and they're the only true miniature breed of cow. We are coming up into our baboon territory now. There is already one that's on that pickup truck there. Baboons are found throughout southern Asia and Africa. They have a very complex social organization that begins at birth. Female baboons will inherit their social ranking from their mothers, and male's ranking is open to challenge. If a lower ranking baboon attempts to take food before a high ranking member, they will be punished by tail biting and screeching. An adult baboon can weigh up to 88 pounds, and they can live for up to 30 years. Yeah. Usually they'll just they'll pop up and then they'll just sit until they don't feel like sitting down anymore. they get, I guess. So at the exit of the reserve, we do always have a game warden station there to check every car, especially pickup trucks, to make sure that there's nothing hiding underneath, on top. Yeah, this is our special bus road where we usually get the best view of them. So we do actually have a couple of baby baboons within our troop as well. We have 2 newborns that are both only about 2.5 months old. And we also have our 1-year-old baby, who's definitely the most rambunctious and destructive of all of our baboons. Not sure where he ran off to at that moment though. Looks like there is another baboon that hopped up on that red SUV back there.
Oh, yo, look at that.
So one of our baboons' favorite activities is grooming each other. Not only does this help to remove dirt, ticks, and fleas, but it also acts as a very important form of social bonding between baboons. But they do also like to eat the insects that they pick off of each other. Sometimes people do try to feed our baboons in this reserve. I have seen many people bring bananas and put them on their car to try to get the baboons to come up onto their car. And then they usually get kicked out of the reserve. Even though our baboons do seem pretty relaxed, they do have very sharp claws and sharp teeth, and they're not afraid to use them, which is why we do make sure that nobody has their windows open while they travel through this reserve. Well, they like humans that they're used to, but they don't. If somebody's trying to like tap out their window or something, they don't. They're not very responsive to that. Our right-hand side, you might notice a wire-enclosed chute that goes from the center of the reserve into the building on the other side, and that's what our baboons use to go into the building to sleep at night, since they do prefer to sleep indoors. They do also like to crowd around their chute if it's raining, since they're not very big fans of the rain. Exit this reserve, we do always have our game warden. Make sure that there's no escapee baboons on any vehicles heading into our next reserve, which is our Rocky Ridge Belt. We do actually have one of our ostriches coming up here to our left-hand side. The ostrich is the largest living flightless bird. Even though they can't fly, they can run at speeds of up to 75 kilometers an hour, which they can maintain for about half an hour without showing any signs of being tired. An adult ostrich can weigh up to 385 pounds and be a height of 9.5 feet. We do have a couple of ostriches, so we might be able to get a closer look at another one a little later on. these guys are called the scimitar horned oryx. These scimitar horned oryx get their name from the interesting shape of their horns, which resemble a scimitar, an ancient sword with a curved blade. These guys can survive 9 to 10 months without drinking any water at all. They can actually raise their body temperature to 47 degrees Celsius to help prevent respiration and water loss. So the oryx actually went extinct in the wild in the year 2000 due to excessive hunting and habitat loss. However, small populations were reintroduced into the countries of Tunisia and Chad back in 2016. They are doing quite well now. In the field to our right hand side here, we have a large tan brown antelope, and these guys are called the eland. The eland are actually the largest of all antelope species. Adult eland can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. Both males and females have large hollow horns and reach up to 3 feet in length. All eland also have faint white stripes on their sides. From far away, these stripes make them look like their ribs are sticking out, making them appear too skinny and unappetizing to their predators. Closer view at our eland. However, their stripes are still a little bit hard to see from here. Mountain here, we have some of our Barbary sheep, but we do have a much larger herd that we'll see in just a minute. Field to our right hand side here, we have most of our giraffes as well as our 4 white rhinoceros. The 4 white rhinos that we have here are named Mac, Firestar, and Lenny. Mac is our male and Firestar and Lenny are all females, and all 4 of them come from Kruger National Park in South Africa as part of a translocation program. I notice that they are nice and muddy at the moment because they did just have a mud bath. Rhinos love to take mud baths. It helps them to cool off and also to help reduce irritation caused by biting flies and ticks. Rhinos are predominantly hairless, which means that they can be a little bit sensitive to fly bites. White rhinoceros can weigh up to 5,500 pounds. That massive size is sustained purely by grass, as rhinos are strictly vegetarians, and they'll take between 70 and 80 bites per minute while they graze on grass. White rhinos have 2 horns, one in front of the other. the largest of which can reach a length of 3 feet. Their horns are made up of keratin, which is the same protein that makes up our hair and fingernails. At one time, white rhinos were heavily hunted for their hides and horns, which once believed to have magical powers. That did lead to a introduction of our first 3 gamesters, and the person stationed here has the important job of closing any one of our gates should the need arise, such as a lion getting a little bit too close. So we're now heading into our Timbuktu lion country, and in this reserve you'll be introduced to our pride of white lions. Our white lions are just like the lions that we saw in our previous section, except for the color of their coats. It looks like all of our white lions are on our left-hand side. Laying on the ground, we have our dominant male white lion in this pride. His name is Feta, just like feta cheese. It is only the male lion, in this case Feta, that grows the mane. Their mane first begins to grow when they're about 15 months old and is fully developed within 5 years, and it serves 3 important purposes. Their mane acts as protection to their head and neck region when they fight with other cats. It makes males look more attractive to females and more intimidating to other males. So white lions are some